past 7 o'clock, so I will call tonight's council meeting to order. And Karen, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Husnick?
Here.
Councilmember Munson?
Here.
Councilmember Byström? Councilmember Valento?
Here.
And Mayor Bain?
Here. I would like to invite everyone to rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, you have an agenda before you this evening, and I would like to propose one amendment to the agenda. Regular agenda item 7J, which is council liaison appointments. We are missing Councilmember Byström tonight, and I would like to have that discussion when we are all present. And so if we could remove council liaison appointments, and we will put that on our next council agenda. That would be my only change, would be to remove items 7J. I'll entertain a motion to approve or any other changes anyone may have.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the agenda and by removing regular agenda item 7J.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, and agenda is approved. Our next item this evening is open forum. Open forum is any interested party's opportunity to address council on any topic of their choosing. And I believe we have a couple of open forum items this evening. And Mr. Waller.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I'm John Waller. I live at 140 Homestead Avenue in Hugo, Minnesota. I'm the Rice Creek Watershed District Manager from Washington County, and I do not speak for my colleagues. I only speak as an individual member of the board that represents Washington County tonight. First, I want to thank you all for your great support. I appreciate that very much. I will complete my 15th year on Wednesday at my meeting, and then I have another chore for 3 more. I'm looking forward for it. One of the things I've worked very hard on over the years is to make sure that our drainage systems or our stormwater conveyance system works really, really well. And I've worked here in the past with it. And I want to compliment Ryan, the engineer. He's done some outstanding work. We wouldn't have gotten Shadow Creek fixed without his extra duty that he did and get that done. But I want to remind you that when you take over parts of the stormwater system or the drainage system under the 103 Act, which is the ditches, whether they're tiles or not, that there are consequences to that. And I know that you have in my packet for Wednesday an application for a hearing to transfer that authority. And there's been some discussion about this, and I'm not here to fight with you one way or the other. I understand why the engineers want to transfer that authority. I understand they want to make a bigger pond there, and they don't want to key in the drainage system. Under the district authority, we would keep the tile system there for that 4,000 feet, 3/4 of a mile, and that's a difference. But when you take over those systems, there are consequences that may not really be of significance to the staffs or the consultants. And those consequences are who pays the bills. So in the past, I remember some years ago, probably 20 now, I was on the advisory committee, and the airport wanted to do some work over there. I think Councilman Husnick will remember that. And they went to the district and said, you need to fix this drainage on here so we can fix the airport. And the district said, help. Yeah. They said, well, we can't do that right now, we're busy. And they were busy trying to fight the drainage systems in Hugo and in Blaine and the court hearings that went on during the 90s, and we were just trying to get it repaired then. And so they said, look, we got a great deal for you. Well, we're going to let you take over the system. And so they went through the whole program, which we will do because your petition is beginning, of abandoning or having the city take it over. The result of that was, a couple years later when I was on the board, we decided to repair the whole system, 4 branches, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And special taxing districts were set up for it. And so we taxed everybody that was in the airport and down west of the airport, all those houses. But they didn't have any drainage that we took care of or maintained. That was branch 1. And branch 1 then got, of course, being the district, you know, they decided they didn't have enough money the first time. They had to go back and have a second special tax. And that's in addition to the taxes we pay every year for the minor maintenance of the system. So my point here is I think it's time for you, as at your level, the council level, and other councils here in Washington County, to have a conversation about updating how this money goes. Remember, these systems were built for the agricultural system back a century ago. And the district's been around for half of that time, 50 years. By the way, we're going to celebrate on the 18th of this month, 50 years of the Race Creek Watershed District. So it'll be a small party, believe me. We have to think about how we're going to use these fundings. Because when I started to come up here in 2012 or so and talk to the council about, my pitch was, and as it's always been, I'd hand out whatever taxes had been paid for the last year or 2 years or whatever, and say to you, well, you paid in so much money, how much did it come back to the city? And that's still a theme I have tonight. I'm saying to you that the money, when you take over, doesn't sound like much, it's 3/4 of a mile. But you take over this and you take over a little bit more, maybe branch 2, maybe branch 3. Pretty soon, the district still collects that funding on their general taxes, but they don't provide the minor maintenance that the plan of the district calls for. There's no reciprocity for this. And yes, you guys can have a special sewer taxes and you can do this and that, but we collect that money and we spend it. And by the way, Washington County only has 1 vote on the board. I know there are 4 other members and that sometimes I think I outnumber them, but they're happy to take that money and spend it on Ramsey or Anoka County. I'm not complaining about that. I'm saying you have to stick up for yourself. If you don't complain, you don't stick up for yourselves, you're going to lose. So that's why it brings me back to about the conversation here, that they're about the consequences of this and the financing of it, and how you're going to make sure that you have money for that stormwater pond that's going to replace this drainage tile for 3/4 of a mile. And I know some people say, well, gee, they'll never be cleaning those. But that 26-acre stormwater pond in Hugo that was built when I came home from the service in 1975 needs a little tidying up, even though it was 30 feet deep, has otters and fish and birds. It still needs a little helping hand. And that's a district requirement, volume control, rate control, but no district money in the maintenance of it. So that's what I'm saying to you again. I ask you to, when you take over these things, that remember, the taxes will still be collected by the authority of the district, but they will not have the responsibility to help pay for that. You're going to lose that way. That doesn't sound like much, but a little bit here, a little bit there. And right now, last year you paid $175,000. So we're not talking about a couple of pennies. Most of that money comes out of the value of those homes, that airport in your area. And as you build south, along between 61 and 35, that's where the money's going to be there. And that's where branches 2, 3, and 4 of Ditch 4 are. So with that, I thank you very much, and I will appreciate it very much. I'm very grateful and very honored that Forest Lake was so supportive in my reappointment this year. I appreciate that very much. I was really rather lucky. I had letters from 4 different cities for my reappointment to support it. So considering I had kind of a difficult year, you know, I mean, so, and so with that, thank you very much, and I'm very grateful, Mayor, for giving me a little extra time to talk tonight. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, John.
Next on open forum this evening, Susan Young.
Hi, my name is Susan Young, 9950 199th Street North in Forest Lake, and I want you to come jump in the lake. The Rotary Plunge is coming up again, and we are going to be on February 19th of 2022. This is a Rotary Plunge. It is not a polar plunge. The polar plunge is strictly for Special Olympics, and they're a wonderful organization. But our Rotary Plunge allows nonprofits in Forest Lake and anywhere else that they want to come from to raise money for their organizations, get cold for their cause, and it's a very unique way and a really easy way for nonprofits to earn money. And so what I am asking of the council tonight is I'm hoping that you will approve our permits, because that is on your agenda. And the second thing I'm asking is that the council return to the tradition of being our first jumpers every plunge. Now, it's happened. I know it. I have that kind of a memory, all right? And we would love to have you all be our first jumpers. It's not, everybody says, oh, I'll freeze. No, you won't. Before you really know you're cold, you're out of the water and you're back in that really nice big tent that we keep warm. Alan Bakke and I make sure that the tent has started to be warmed up the night before. And, you know, it's actually pretty hot in there when you get out of the water. I want to ask you also, if you have nonprofits that you are associated with or that you know of that are looking to raise money for their organization, this really is very easy. They sign up their team on our website. They get pledges for their jumpers. People say, well, you know, I get a pledge, but we're not going to be able to watch them jump. LATV is already signed up. They will be live streaming the plunge this year. So Grandma and Grandpa in Arizona can hear their football player yell as he jumps into the lake and know that their pledge is for real. February 19th, get on the Rotary's, Forest Lake Rotary's website. Please, if you know of organizations that are trying to raise money, and it's been a tough year for nonprofits, this is a great way to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan. Do we have anybody else for open forum? Karen, anybody online?
There's no one else.
All right. With that, we will close open forum and move on to our consent agenda. Council, for your consideration this evening, we have consent agenda items, oh boy, multiple pages. 6A through 6P and 27, and then P includes items through 27. So I will pause, let everyone this is the packet of 800 plus pages. So very heavy on the administration side of tonight's agenda. So for your consideration, consent agenda items, again, 6A through 6P27. I'm happy to entertain either a motion to approve or any changes as anyone sees fit.
Just a quick question, Madam Mayor.
Please.
This is kind of you just said it, it's really a long thing. Would everybody feel more comfortable by voting on each one? You know, like 6I and 6J separate? I don't know, I'm just asking the question.
We can certainly piece it out if that is more comfortable. I would maybe say, to that point, maybe we approve in a lump 6A through H, and then we go through each of the permit sections and approve individually. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because one of them has 27 items on it. You know,
Yes.
so
Yes.
I just thought it might be a little less. But based on that, then I'd make a motion that we approve consent agenda 6A through 6H.
I'll second.
There's a motion. We'll take a second from Councilmember Munson. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose, and items 6A through 6H are approved. This is a good plan, Councilmember Husnick. Our next item is for gambling permits, and we have items I1 through 3. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And item 6I is approved. Moving on to outdoor entertainment permits, we have items J1 and 2. Is there any changes or a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, and 6J is approved. Moving on to item K, pawnbroker license. There is one, item K1. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose. Item 6K is approved. 6L, massage individual licenses. We have for consideration items L1 through 8. Any changes or a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
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 Oppose. Items 6L is approved. Moving on to 6M, massage location licenses. We have council consideration of items 1 through 5. Any changes or a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve those licenses. This would be M6M 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose. Item 6M is approved. Next item is item 6N, the refuse hauler licenses, and we have for council consideration items 1 through 18. Any changes or a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose. Item 6N is approved. Moving on to 6O, tobacco licenses. We have for council's consideration 601 through 20 this evening. I'll make a motion that we approve consent agenda items 601 through 20. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose. 6O is approved. Moving on to 6P liquor licenses. We have for council's consideration 6P 1 through 27. And entertain any changes or a motion to approve.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve 6P 1 through 27.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, and 6P is approved. And that is how we move through 750 pages of council packet. Oof. All right, that will move us on to our regular agenda this evening, and for council's consideration is Resolution 01-10-2201, which is a site plan amendment for the Target store. And Nathan, are you walking us through this?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bain. Good evening, Mayor Bain, members of the council. Hopefully you can hear me, I'm in the mic now. We have a site plan amendment request from Target. This site plan request is considered an amendment to the current site plan that was approved in 1999. The request in front of the council is simply to relocate and expand the current curbside parking that is in the parking lot of the Target store. I'm sure everyone is familiar with. The proposal is to increase the size of this area from 8 stalls to 24. That would be the primary benefit of this, obviously, as contact-free pickup has definitely increased in the last couple of years. The other benefit is to have the parking area relocated such that the employees of Target can more quickly and safely get to the parking area to deliver the orders. So that is the primary reason Target is requesting this. This is in front of the council because the city code requires site plan amendments to be reviewed and approved by the city council with the recommendation from the planning commission. At its last meeting, the planning commission unanimously recommended this item for approval, and that is documented, or that approval would be through resolution 110-2201. I'm happy to take any questions on the actual site plan review if there are any. That's all I have formally prepared.
Thank you, Nathan. The actual, I'm looking for the actual resolution here.
862.
Thank you. I'll get there, I promise. Page 862, you said?
Mhm.
There we go. All right, council, for your consideration is the resolution on page 862. Any questions for Nathan before we open up for council action? Personally,
Seems like it
I
all.
have, I have been a customer at this site, and it is a busy location, so kudos for Target for going through the process to expand and to continue to offer a very desirable service. So I don't have any questions. Anybody else questions? Ready
Madam-
for a motion? Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution number 01-10-22-01, a resolution approving the site plan amendment for Target 356 12th Street Southwest.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And motion carries. Our next item this evening is Resolution 01-10-2102, which is a donation, and Chief Peterson.
Yeah, Mayor and City Council members, good evening. The first item I have for you tonight is a resolution accepting a donation to the Police Department in the amount of $50 from Joan Paulson. I want to publicly thank Ms. Paulson for her generous donation and request the City Council to accept the donation with gratitude.
Thank you, Chief. I would motion that we accept the donation with gratitude, Resolution 01-10-2102. Is there a second
ahead,
from
you-
Council?
it's fine.
Second from Councilmember Husnick. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And Resolution 7B is approved. Moving on to our next resolution, 01-10-2103, another donation. Chief Peterson.
Yep, the second item I have for you tonight is a resolution accepting a donation to the Police Department in the amount of $1,000 from Doug Beck and his company, Five Star Financial Resources. I want to publicly thank Mr. Beck and Five Star Financial Resources for their generous donation and request the City Council to accept the donation with gratitude.
Excellent. I would motion that we accept the donation with gratitude by approving Resolution 01-10-2103.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? With that, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, and resolution passes. Our next item, another donation for Resolution 01-10-2104, and also Chief Peterson.
Yep. Last, what I have before you tonight is a resolution accepting a donation to the Police Department in the amount of $1,000 from Brad Beck and his company Strategic Financial Solutions. I want to publicly thank Mr. Beck and Five Star Financial Resources Solutions, I believe, Solutions, for their generous donation and request the City Council to accept the donation with gratitude.
Very good. With that, I make a motion that we accept Resolution 01-10-2104 with gratitude.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, and motion carries. All right, continuing on with Chief Peterson, police officer hiring recommendation.
Yeah, Mayor and City Council members, the Forest Lake Police Department currently has a qualified candidate on an eligibility list for the open position of police officer. The candidate has completed a very thorough police officer hiring process that initially started with 24 candidates who went through a vigorous interview process. The candidate was forwarded on in the hiring process and completed a background investigation, a physical exam, and a psychological exam. The candidate, David Sawaki, accepted a conditional offer of employment with the Forest Lake Police Department in late 2021. David Sawaki has 5 years of experience as a deputy sheriff with the Washington County Sheriff's Office, and he is very excited to start his new career with the Forest Lake Police Department. If approved, his potential start date would be January 23rd, 2022. Staff recommendation is to hire David Sawaki to fill the open position of police officer at pay grade 9 in step 2 pursuant to the 2020-2022 LELS Local 111 labor contract.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief. Council, any questions you may have for Chief Peterson? Chief, just a quick question, bringing back to budget. This was just confirming this was one of our budgeted positions for 2022.
That is correct.
The council doesn't get a chance to really get involved too much, so we have to rely on staff recommendation, which is fine. And you went through, what was it, 24 candidates?
Yes,
That's quite
initially, yep.
quite a good group. So I'd make a motion that we go by the recommendation of the staff to hire David Sawaki as our new officer for the city of Forest Lake.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
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 Oppose? And motion carries. Our next item this evening, Resolution 01-10-2205, which is the resolution designated the Forest Lake Times as our official newspaper for 2022. And Karen.
Council members and Mayor Bain, this is something that comes forward to you at the beginning of every year. Forest Lake Times has usually been designated as the official newspaper. This hasn't been, I didn't receive any solicitations or any other bids for this job, I guess. And so it's recommended that council accepts this as our official, designates this as our official newspaper for 2022.
Any council discussion, motion?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 01-10-22-05, a resolution designating the Forest Lake Times as the official newspaper for the city of Forest Lake for the year of 2022.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll just have a quick note of gratitude. I know that there are many mayors and councils that are struggling with getting message of local news because their hometown doesn't have a local newspaper, and we're fortunate that that is not the case here in Forest Lake, so happy to support this tonight and happy we've got a local hometown source here, so.
And they've been at this capacity for ever.
Yep, that is correct.
I don't know how long it's been,
Continue
but
the
it's a long
tradition.
time.
You're right.
Not forever, but well over a century.
100 plus. All right, with that, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And motion carries. We have another donation this evening under Resolution 01-10-2206 for the Senior Center. Dan,
That's fine. We ask the council to approve Resolution 01-10-2206, which is a donation of $200 from the family of Gail Hazeldine for the Senior Center. We ask council approval and have great thanks to the Hazeldine family.
fabulous. I would make a motion that we accept with gratitude the donation of $200 for the Senior Center from the Hazeldine family.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And motion carries. All right. Beginning of every new council year, we have a motion to consider the acting mayor appointment, which is item 7H. And I would motion that we reappoint Councilmember Husnick to be acting mayor for the period of 2022.
I'll second.
We'll take Councilmember Valento for the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain. Thank
One
you.
abstention, and motion carries.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Councilmember Husnick. And our final action agenda, or action item for the evening is item 7I, which is boards and commissions appointment. This is going to be a two-step process this year. We have positions that were expiring as of year end that we wanted to accelerate and get on our approval tonight so that meetings are able to continue throughout the month of January. We will, at our next council meeting, have a list of appointments for positions that expire at the end of January. Our commissions are kind of split as to how those positions expire. And so my presentation for this evening and for council's consideration is reappointment of Diane Helfand to the Cable Commission, reappointment of Leif Erickson to the EDA, and then reappointment of Terry Steenblock, Jason Steenblock, and Tim Geary to Parks, Trails, and Lakes. We enjoy great citizen participation on our boards and commissions, and everybody that is nominated for appointment is serving in that existing capacity and has graciously accepted the offer to be continued, should council choose to approve. So it would be my recommendation, and I would make the motion that we approve the appointments to commissions as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I will just add, it looks like we will have one resignation or somebody asking to not be reappointed onto the Planning Commission. So just a note to the public, if there is anybody who is interested in serving their community in that capacity, we will be looking for one additional body to fill that open seat on the Planning Commission. And with that position then being filled, and assuming that others that there's no other resignations that come forward, I think we will have all vacancies appointed, which is a nice spot to be. So I just appreciate everybody who serves in those capacities and kind of does great work for the city. So with that, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? And motion carries. That concludes the end of our action items for this evening. We do not have any planned workshop topics or discussion-only topics. And so we will move right into staff updates. And let's just start with Karen, and we'll go kind of down the dais and then around the table as we have in previous meetings.
I just wanted to thank you for approving all of those licenses. I will have a couple more probably coming to the next meeting, but nothing like you saw tonight.
Well,
So,
thank you for all the work in processing all of those license renewals. It is a lot of work to get through all of that, so thank you.
thank you. I also want to remind council that the meeting in April for the Board of Appeals and Equalization is coming up. If you haven't done the training on that and you're interested in the training on that, you should have received a link, but I can resend that to you again. I know there's a few of you that have already done that, so you're ready to go. They do require at least one council member is trained. They prefer two in the event that somebody can't make it to that meeting. So if you haven't done it, you want to, and you need the link again, let me know. That's it.
Thank you, Karen. Dan?
Mayor, members of council, just a couple of save the dates for the downtown planning engagement. Talked to this planner this afternoon. We're looking for an in-person downtown engagement or community engagement session on Tuesday, January 25th at 7 p.m. And we'll also be launching the online engagement starting this Wednesday. That will be posted on the city's website, and it'll also be on the investinforestlake.com website. So the community engagement in-person session is on Tuesday, January 25th, and the online session will start this Wednesday. And with that, happy to answer any questions council may have.
Any questions for Dan? All right. Nathan, anything for council?
We've got a couple neighborhood meetings coming up this week associated with items that are on upcoming planning commission agendas, as well as a planning commission meeting this week. No other updates really from me unless you have any questions.
Very good. Thank you. Pete?
Your Honor, members of council, I have no update.
Good, thank you. Anything for Pete this evening? All right, Patrick?
Yes, just really a personnel issues, just to update you. We have had a resignation in the finance director's position. We posted that position and are taking applications for that until, I believe it's January 24th is the first review of any applications, and it's open until filled. We will be reposting the community development director position shortly. On both of the finance and the CD, we are going national with their advertisement. I've already placed the finance director with the GFOA, and we will place the community development director with the American Planning Association to get more of a national pool, see if we can increase the pool. And finally, we are scheduling hiring interviews for the utility billing clerk vacancy that we have now, and hopefully we'll fill those shortly. And that's it, if you have questions.
Any questions for Patrick? All right, Dave?
No updates this evening.
Very good. Ryan?
Mayor, City Council, just a lot of development activity going on, major subdivision site improvements, so it'll be certainly a busy construction season. Spoke with Washington County today. They have assigned a new project manager to the County State Aid Highway 32 project and County State Aid Highway 33 project that will lead the final plans and specs for that project, but then solicit RFPs for consultants, and they hope to have a consultant on by May for the 11th Avenue project. And then just, we'll be moving into some public engagement with MnDOT here in the Highway 97 corridor, so stay tuned with that. That's all I got, unless you got any questions.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Chief Peterson?
Mayor and city council members, no updates from me.
Chief Newman?
No updates.
Sandy?
No updates for me.
And Kim?
No updates for me.
All right. Let's bring back to council for council updates. We'll start with Councilmember Munson.
No updates tonight.
All right. Councilmember Husnick?
Two things, I attended the EDA meeting tonight. Dan touched on part of it that we talked about, and then Mara will be covering some things too, along with what was I going to say about, the business needs assessment that was given to us by Washington County, so we'll go from there. I also attended the school board meeting last Thursday. They had a very busy meeting that night because, again, they had to reelect officers and within their board and who's going to be secretary and who's going to be whatever amongst their board, so that took some of that time. And then after they did the student reports and so forth, and so they also talked about the issues they've been having with buses. We've been hearing this all along about every day there could be 6 routes that they have to, half a dozen routes that they have to cancel. So it's, if you got kids in school, stay posted on that. Also, their COVID reactions or their COVID dealings are strictly by what's going on in the classrooms too. So you want to make sure that if you have kids in school, to stay updated on what's going to be happening as far as masks are concerned, testing and all that. And of course, then they go through the same things we do with our board appointments and that sort of thing. So other than that, there was, under action items, there was a whole list of things that is just, they're proposing some classes, pretty interesting things, the new course proposals of principles of management, medical dosages, medical terminology, pharmacology. So some pretty interesting stuff. One policy failed because one of the things that they were talking about is adding a student onto the school board. And most of the board members wanted nothing to do with that because of the political nature of it, and rightly so. You don't want some kid taking flack over something, So anyways, that's the end of my report. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Husnick. Councilmember Valento?
No updates for me tonight.
All right. Just a couple quick updates from me. First, I'd like to express condolences for Councilmember Bystrom and the loss of her family. And I hate to transition from that straight into administrative things, but this is the first meeting of the year and this is what we do. So liaison appointments, we will be discussing at our next council meeting. Council, consider your kind of work commitments and commitments to liaison positions. And if you would like to make any adjustments to that, now is a great time to do so. So if you have some thoughts on either a commission you'd like to serve on or one you'd like to come off of, certainly let me know. And we have some time between now and our next meeting to get those, get the right appointments made to the right positions. As Councilmember Husnick mentioned, we had an EDA meeting right before this. We had a very robust discussion around next steps around the downtown plan. There is there's a big plane to land here with the downtown plan over the next 6 months. And, the original timeline to land on that plan and to conclude the plan was the first part of the second quarter, which is April timeframe. And whether we're going to do that in April or if that's going to go on a little bit later into the year, there's a lot of work to be done between now and then. So as I think about getting consensus from the community, consensus from the EDA, and consensus from council, I think we'd be well served to consider appointing a member of the EDA to serve as a chair of that board. Again, just because there's a fair amount of work to be done, and as I think about my role on the EDA EDA in my role on council, I'm not sure I am the best person to kind of gather all of that consensus and to kind of conclude that work. Happy to be part of it, I'm not looking to step back at all, but there's a fair amount of kind of granularity that needs, and detail that needs to be dove into between now and then. And so I think it would be helpful if we had a member of the EDA serve in that role, and I teed that up with the EDA at our last meeting. We will reconsider that in February, but just wanted to make you all aware as well. And if you have some thoughts on somebody on the EDA who would be really good in that capacity, happy to have that conversation. Just again, I think it's important that we get to the end of that plan with a strong consensus from the EDA and the community and council, and somebody to help shepherd that along, I think would be really a good move to make now. So if you have some feedback, I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy to have a conversation. And again, that would come before the EDA for consideration in their February meeting. Otherwise, Dan mentioned upcoming dates around the downtown plan. We will also have another EDA session specific to that topic on our first meeting in February. So I'm expecting the community engagement session at the end of this month to be, a fair amount of kind of information gathering, and then I would expect that first meeting in February to be the EDA's real opportunity to kind of meet as a cohort group and kind of really digest and provide feedback to that plan. I think at that point, mid-February, we'll have a good understanding of how much consensus we've reached and where there might be areas where we need to either get some small work groups going or some other work plan items to help kind of bring to consensus. But I think if we're kind of looking to get to mid-February, we'll have a good understanding of just, are we on the same page, or is there a lot of detail here that we need to wrap up? So just trying to look ahead to make sure that we're landing strong, and with, again, a plan that has a fair amount of both community engagement and as well as just kind of council consensus. So happy to take any other feedback council may have on that. Otherwise, just some things to think about as we're going in over the next couple of weeks. With that is the end of updates and the end of our planned agenda for this evening. With nothing further to come before council, I'm happy to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
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 Oppose? And we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.